recording? Okay, perfect. So again, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We do have a great group of families. So first of all, we wanted to say congratulations to all of you and your students. We're excited to have you be a part of the IMSA community. And so we're having this information meeting tonight to introduce you to IMSA's Parent Association Council, or PAC for short. One thing you will get to know about IMSA is that they love their acronyms. So we are part of that acronym crew now too, so the PAC. And you'll see some of us have these backgrounds behind us just so you can identify. And Missy is also here without the background. She just waved to you. But she is also one of our leadership team members, along with a few others that you will see today. So basically the first half of this call, we'll go through some information about PAC and introduce ourselves, and also some of the really wonderful things we do as a PAC, and we hope that you will have the opportunity to join us while your students are at IMSA. So with that, I'm going to share some slides with you. So give me a moment to get that set up. Okay, so hopefully all of you can see the slides now. Okay, so our Parent Association Council is comprised of a leadership team, which includes the executive committee, and that includes the president, vice president, treasurer, secretary. We also have a board member at large and a sophomore representative. And my name is Maria Tianco Ramos, and I am this year's president. I'm very honored to serve in this capacity. So a little bit about me. I live in Aurora, about 20 minutes from IMSA, and my children who are IMSA students, I have Sebastian who will be a senior this year, Reese who will be a junior, Olivia who will be a sophomore, and I also have a 7th grader, Ava, in this picture. My prior PAC involvement is I was the vice president of PAC last year. I was also part of the Student Life Committee as a co-chair last year, and also I've been a wing parent, regional representative, Fridays Fest volunteer, and more. So needless to say, it's been a really great experience for me. And also, hopefully, as you're getting to meet the rest of the people, I want you to take a look and see that no matter near or far, however far you live or near from IMSA, there's many different ways to get involved. So next, I'd like to turn it over to Kathy Williams. And I'm not sure if I have to unmute her. Hold on. Let's see. Guy, are you able to see?
Find her. I can't find her.
Okay. So let's go to the next one, and then we'll come back to Kathy. Okay. So Alex, are you on the call?
Is that a smartphone?
Hold on. Kathy, is that okay?
No, I was filming.
Thank you. Guy, are you able to unmute everybody, and then we'll just have everybody mute themselves? Okay.
Hi, Maria. This is Kathy.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Kathy.
Sorry,
go back?
I don't know. I don't know why I can't seem to launch this Zoom, but I decided to call until I can get it ready. But anyway, again, and I joined a little late, so I assume you're making introductions at this point.
Yes.
Okay. So again, my name is Kathy Williams. I'm the vice president of PAC, and I have a daughter. My daughter is Christina Williams. She is a rising senior this year, and my activities so far have been with PAC last year I was responsible for the senior banquet. Unfortunately, we weren't able to go through with the senior banquet. And so I am heavily recruiting those of you who would be interested in being the chairperson for that committee. But that's all I have for now. Is there anything else that you wanted me to do, Maria?
Nope, you are good. Thank you very much, Kathy.
Great.
Thank you. You're welcome. So Alex, are you on the call?
Nope.
Nope, okay. So let me introduce Alex. He is our treasurer for this year. And Alex is from Normal, Illinois, and his son is AJ, who is a junior. And this is Alex's first year involved with the PAC, but already he's been doing a fantastic job. Okay, next we have Kyle. And Kyle, I know you're on the call.
I'm here. Glad to be here. Hope you can hear me. My name's Kyle. I live down in the Springfield area. I am serving as secretary this year. Last year, I was the sophomore representative on PAC. I have one daughter. Well, I have 4 children, but only one of them currently attends IMSA. It's my daughter, Cordelia, who's a junior. I just want to plug that, getting involved with PAC is a great opportunity to learn what's going on at IMSA, find out information that your students may not be telling you, because while my daughter was a pretty good communicator, I definitely found a lot more out through PAC than I sometimes find out from her. So that's all I have to say, but congratulations, everybody.
Thank you, Kyle. And obviously he loved the PAC so much that he is back for another year. So thank you, Kyle. Okay. Our board member at large is Aldwin Antarola. Aldwin, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. So, yes, I'm from Carbondale, Illinois. So for those who are from Southern Illinois, welcome to IMSA. I know it's going to be a challenge sending your kids 6 hours away, although with current events and what's happening, I guess they'll be staying home. But we have the same concerns, I guess, right now with everybody. And I do have a senior, so I've been at IMSA for 2 years now, so this is going to be a 3rd year. And I'm going to be there for a little longer because my second son, James, who's carrying my daughter here, Claire, is going to be an incoming sophomore. I initially became involved with the transportation committee. It's very important for us from Southern Illinois to make sure that our kids get to school and get back at home during extended weekends. And Abhijit will talk more about that. Yeah, so I look forward to meeting Region 5, that's where we are, Carbondale and other areas in Southern Illinois for our regional meetup, which we will announce later.
Thank you very much, Aldwin. Okay, so Kyle told you a little bit about the sophomore representative role. And so we are looking for a sophomore representative right now. And we think one of you will be the perfect fit. Okay, so there's a little bit of feedback, so we may have to go back to muting. Okay, so anyway, for a sophomore representative, it is a parent of an incoming sophomore. So again, we would love to have you be a part of the IMSA PAC, and as a sophomore representative, you are actually part of the executive board, so you do have, as Kyle put it, you will have some great insight into the school, but also find out more about what's going on with your students. So if you are interested in filling this role, please send us an email at theimsapac@gmail.com. And for these links, we'll be sharing them with you later on. So don't feel like you have to feverishly write. We do have something to share with you later that has all of these summarized. Okay, so as part of our leadership committee, We also have the committee chairs for the following committees: Academic, Friday Fest, Technology, Student Life, Senior Banquet, Facebook, Hospitality, and Transportation. So our first committee is the Academic Committee. We have Moju, Gabriella, and Kathleen. So Moju, are you on the
Hi.
call? Okay.
I'm here. Thank you. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So hi, good evening. This is Moju Fatudechi. As one of the co-chairs for the academic committee, the primary purpose of the this committee is to facilitate the communication and the involvement between the administration, faculty, and parents on the academic matters. We have created an email account, so that if you want to reach any of us, you can just use this email. And I think the next slide would be about each one of us that are part of this group. So I live in Wheaton, and I have, it's about a 25 to 30-minute ride to IMSA, not very far. My student is Serena Gasek. She's an incoming junior. And so last year, as my first year at IMSA, I also helped with this committee as a this committee operates. So I'm looking forward to this year because I have two great co-chairs to help out with the discussions that we're going to bring back and forth, the information that we could bring from you parents to the administration and vice versa.
Wonderful. Thank you, Moju. And next we have Gabriella.
Hi, hello. My name is Gabriela Lima. I live in North Aurora, less than 10 minutes from IMSA. I have two daughters. One is Julie, she's gonna be an incoming junior. And Louise, she was an alumni. It means that I have been at IMSA for about 4 years. It's gonna be my 5th year at IMSA. Last year I helped at Friday Fest, Senior Banquet with Kathy. And this year I'm gonna help Moju in the academic committee, and I'm gonna help Robin at Friday Fest again. Congratulations to all.
Thank you, Gabriella. And then we also have a co-chair who's Kathleen O'Hare. She's gonna be at the meeting tonight. Go ahead, Moju.
Sorry, I was just going to say Kathleen couldn't be here tonight, but she sent her a congrats as well. But here's her slide that we have. She lives in Burbridge. She also has a incoming junior. Her name is Kaylee, and this is the first year that Kathleen is getting involved with PAC, and we look forward to working with her as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Moju.
Thank you.
And next we have our Student Life Committee, and the chairs are Audrey and Maria. So Audrey?
Hi, I'm Audrey. I have 3 kids. My daughter actually just graduated from IMSA this year, and I also have a rising senior who lives in Bolingbrook. And congratulations and welcome to IMSA.
Wonderful. Thank you. And next we have Maria.
Okay, I'm known as Maria the Other, not the president. But I have 4 kiddos, and my son is a rising senior at IMSA. We live in Sugar Grove, about 11 minutes door to door from our house to IMSA. So it's really convenient for us. And Audrey is in her first year on the Student Life Committee, and I am in my 2nd year. So super thrilled to be helping you guys out. The job of the Student Life Committee is to be the connection between the Student Affairs Department and you, the parents, and your students. So if you just pop over to the next slide, there's a real quick brief explanation about what we do. We report to Dina Gannett in the Student Affairs Department at IMSA, and generally we facilitate things when we are on campus. So I know that we are not on campus. And Audrey and I are excited to be able to do things once we absolutely are on campus, but we'll be in touch with the Student Affairs Department once the school year starts, and we will try to help facilitate anything that they have. In the meantime, you're welcome to ask us any of your questions. In fact, since we have quite a few students who have been through IMSA between us and previous chairs like Maria, the president, we created this IMSA lingo and acronyms list, which I'm going to put on the screen for you, not on the screen, but on the chat. And if you click on that, you'll go to a list of acronyms and lingo that your children will start saying once they get to IMSA or once they start having classes at IMSA, which will be very confusing. So hopefully our list that we've created for you will provide a little bit of understanding of what goes on at IMSA and why they call things, you know, the ACK pit, or they call things by certain acronyms and the like. So hopefully that'll help you out as well. One of the big things that we do is called the Wing Parent Program. Generally in a regular school year, we have 2 parents support each wing on campus. So that would be approximately 28 wings, and then double that, hopefully having 56 wing parents to support. And how we support is we talk to the RCs, the resident counselors, and we help with activities. So you'll see the pictures on the screen of the activities that we've done, from sushi night to painting pumpkins and other great celebrations that we'll do once we have on campus. So now is the time to sign up to be a wing parent. And what we'll do while we wait to get back on campus is we'll train you, and we'll answer any questions you have, and then we'll just try to be an exciting support once the school year starts. So I'm super excited. Audrey and I have lots of plans ready to go once we're back at campus. But until then, feel free to please sign up to be a wing parent, and then we'll get you started so we're ready to, with the ball rolling once we're together. One quick aside is I am with Kathleen O'Hare, one of the regional chairs, and we're in charge of regional meetups for Region 9. So when you get to that, now you've seen me, we'll be in contact with you in your region if you're in Region 9. And that's all we have for right now.
And I will second that with Maria about how much fun it is to be a wing parent. And what you'll see also, besides being able to connect with the kids, is we all truly enjoy getting to know other parents. So these are great ways to do that too. Thank you, Maria. Okay, next we have the Hospitality Committee, and the chair is Svetlana. So Svetlana. Oh, Svetlana, you're muted. Is Svetlana?
Hi, everybody. Sorry,
there you go.
sorry about that. I started talking, and of course, nobody could hear anything I was saying. So my name is Svetlana Smolkovskaya, and I'm a co-chair of the Hospitality Committee. I want to first welcome everybody, and want to congratulate everybody's student for making this far. We all been there. We all understand how difficult it is to get in, how not easy it is to let your kid go far or not far, but nevertheless living on campus. And I'm sure now we are talking here about all these wonderful opportunities that when kids are going to be back, and all the fun, wonderful activities. And we don't want you to be discouraged that we're still being online. We are really hoping that soon enough we'll be able to send our kids back, and they will enjoy all the wonderful opportunities that are being presented on campus. So you can see my family here. Actually, my 2 sons. One is his name is Ari Fishkin, and he is a rising or incoming senior this year. He's proudly wearing the IMSA shirts. And the other one is my little son Shane, who's actually just 9. So he's not there yet, but maybe in the future. And as mentioned before, I'm a hospitality chair. And I just wanted to let you know that what my committee does, if you move to the next slide.
Okay.
So when we're back on campus for all the meetings that we have packed, so if you join, you'll be invited for monthly meetings. We will be providing, my committee will be providing, refreshments and food. Also, while we do a placement testing of when there's a Parents' Day or any other PAC sponsored functions, our committee will be organizing a food intake for that. So I do need volunteers to help me coordinate all those events. So greatly appreciate if you could just sign up for this committee as well. Thank you so much. And again, welcome.
Thank you. And thanks for sharing a very delicious photo. Okay, next we have our Friday Fest committee. We have Robin, Gabriella, and Missy. So Robin?
Yep. Hi, my name is Robin Abend, and I live in Wheaton with my husband. Wheaton is about 25 minutes from IMSA. We have 2 boys, and our older son, Kyle, who's pictured on the right, is a rising senior this year.
Wonderful. Gabriella?
Oh, hi, I am again here. I live in North Aurora, 8 minutes from IMSA. I have Julie, the incoming junior, and Louise, she's alumni from IMSA. Yeah. Missy.
Great. Missy?
I'm Missy Graff, and my rising junior Nathaniel is pictured on the far right of my picture. I have not only been involved with Friday Fest last year, but also a wing parent, and this year I will be also helping with Region 7. I live in Algonquin, just about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour north of IMSA, and I'm just right on the border. So I think Region 7 goes all the way out to Rockford. So you'll be seeing me if you're in my region as well.
Thank you. So tell us more about Friday Fest.
Okay, so Friday Fest. This slide will probably make you hungry. It's a series of potlucks where parents bring in homemade food from all over the world and serve it to the students in the main building. As this name suggests, these potlucks are typically held on Friday evenings, usually 6 times a year. They are a huge hit for the IMSA students because it gives them a break from traditional cafeteria food, allows them to try some familiar favorites or to sample some dishes that might, test their comfort zone. Now, of course, because IMSA will be starting the year remotely, our committee is currently on standby. For now, we're just going to give you all an overview of what a typical Friday Fest program looks like. And of course, as we learn more about the return to campus, we'll let you know what Friday Fest will look like this year. So we like to call Friday Fest the world's largest potluck because we typically serve over 400 students at each event, which means we need lots of parents participating, either by donating food and serving it or by volunteering. Friday Fest is a great excuse for you to be on campus to see your student, meet their friends, and to make connections with other IMSA parents.
I just wanted to make a special plug for the downstate parents. This is a great opportunity to get involved. It would be great for you to plan your weekend around Friday Fest to pick up your student. You can serve, meet a bunch of parents, volunteer, and then take your student home. If that doesn't work out for you, there is opportunities for you to sign up to send food to Friday Fest. Could be water from Sam's, or it could be a pizza from Mario's, but there's a sign up genius to come around making it really easy for you.
Thank you. So Senior Banquet Committee, we'll have Kathy tell us a little bit more about that. Kathy?
Okay, the dreaded mute button got me.
Okay.
So again, I'm Kathy Williams, and my daughter is a rising senior, Christina Williams. We're from Frankfort, Illinois. And as I mentioned earlier, I chaired the Senior Banquet Committee last year. And excuse me, usually the parents of a junior parent or a sophomore parent are usually the chair and co-chair. And so this is really a request to see if we could get volunteers, junior and sophomore parents to volunteer. The venue is secured. We've already secured the Sheridan in Lisle, and we've already got a DJ secured. So the biggest thing is just the planning that goes around it. And I will say that I am not a party planner, but when we got started doing the senior banquet, there is a nicely written play-by-play program book that really walks you through all the steps that need to be done. And so we really could use co-chairs for this event. And it's a great event. I will say that it usually entails about 600 guests and students. It's a really fun time. There's good food, good music, good entertainment. And each banquet has a theme that the seniors will provide. So it's just a great time. It's a great time to relax with friends and family. And this is right before the graduation. So I think the graduation this year is June 5th. So senior banquet will be on June 4th. So again, if we can get anyone to actually come and be a chair and co-chair, and I will be there to assist in a lot of the coordination of this as well. I'm really there to help out. So we could use your help.
Wonderful. And I also wanted to share, since I know some of us were probably curious as well when we heard about senior banquet. This is not the prom. They do have a prom for the students, which the senior class club coordinates. So this senior banquet is for the students and parents and guests.
So it's a great chance to be with the senior students with their families as well.
Yes. Thank you, Kathy. And yes, we do have some supplies as well already from prior senior banquets. So whoever the co-chairs are, you do have some things that you've inherited as well. So it might make it a little bit easier for the planning, right?
That's correct.
So, okay. Thank you very much. Okay. And there's that picture of the ballroom. Okay, so Transportation Committee. Next, we have Abhijit.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Congratulations and welcome to IMSA family. My name is Abhijit Patkar. I am staying in Peoria, Illinois, which is about a couple of hours from IMSA, downstate. My son Rajan Patkar, he is a senior this year. The transportation committee, as you see, it provides transportation. We try to do the economies of scale, as many students as possible, send them via bus, so it becomes economical for all the families that are living on the following 4 cities, and some other cities which are nearby. They actually come to those stops and then they take them back. You can see on the right hand side with the picture, we have 2 routes currently, one that goes to Peoria, the other one that goes through Bloomington, through Springfield, and the final destination is Fairview Heights. We typically provide this bus transportation on the 6 extended weekends. Down on the right bottom, you'll see this year's calendar has slated those out. Depending upon whether we get back or whether we not, some of those weekends, we will still provide the transportation. We had about 88 students use this service last year. So most of the families that live down south, they prefer to use this service. The families had to pay for about $360 to $675 last year. Of course, that would be prorated depending upon how many trips we end up during this year. And saying that it is completely paid for by the families who participate in this program. The more families participate, the better economies of scale we get from this. We definitely need volunteers at different stops in all those 4 cities. And the reason for that is the process it works is RCs embark the students at IMSA. And when the buses get at those different stops, there is a parent volunteers typically there to check off the students for the safety, to make sure that the people who got on the bus are getting off the bus and they are getting off at the right stop. Also to make sure that if some of the parents are running late, then they just kind of hang around until those parents come back and pick the kids up. So that's the idea. We have a M&M limousine we've been using. We're pretty happy with that service. And the email address is the bottom there. Again, this slide deck will be emailed to you. What I'm looking for is the help from you guys, especially from the sophomore families up on the first bullet there. I'm looking for a co-chair for this committee. The reason, as I said, I'm a senior parent, so I want to hand this off to somebody, and if they have a little bit of experience, it always works out better that way. So having a co-chair from sophomore families is what we're looking for. It's about 6 to 8 hours total for the whole year. That's what you're going to be investing in this whole effort, right? From creating a budget to negotiating contracts with the bus companies and creating a roster and communicating with RCs. So those are the activities for the co-chair. As I said earlier, the volunteers at the stop coordinators, we're looking for those, and that's about 10 to 15 minutes per round trip. So you're talking about at the most hour and a half worth of investment on your part when it comes to the full year. So that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhijit. And as he mentioned, this is a great opportunity for downstate families to get involved in the PAC as well. So next we have Technology Chair, Guy.
Hi everyone, I'm Guy Lima. You probably have seen this picture before. Julie Lima is our rising junior, the shortest one in this picture. So I take care basically of the technology related tools that the PAC needs. I emphasize here is mostly the PAC, not the students. Of course, IMSA has their own people that take care of the technology things for the students. But I have some ideas of things to implement this year. So if somebody, I need somebody to help me, share those things. So if you are willing to dedicate some time for this and you have some skills, please send me a message. You have it there, the email that you can use to get in touch with me. So once again, congratulations to the sophomore parents and welcome to the IMSA family. Thank you.
Thank you, Guy. And next we have the Facebook group's moderator, Jim Ramos.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? I'm Jim Ramos. I'm from Aurora. I have 3 kids in STEM or in IMSA. Sebastian is going to be a senior. Reese is going to be a junior. Olivia is going to be a sophomore. I've been a Facebook group moderator for the past 2 years. Wing parent past 2 years, and Friday Fest volunteer for the past 2 years. Here's the link to join the group. There are questions. I can't see you.
There are questions to answer when you're questions.
There are questions to be answered when joining the group, like your son's name, son or daughter's name, and what grade they're in. That information you probably have already identified. So you've been given permission to join this group.
Yes.
And that's it.
So the Facebook group is also a great way to, chat amongst other parents. So sometimes if you just need an answer about something or have a question or want to stay in touch. It's also been a great tool for parents that are looking to carpool with different families from different regions. So we invite you to take part in that. Okay, great. Oops, one slide too fast. Okay, so as we've been going through and talking a little bit about what PAC does, we've kind of talked about a little bit of what openings we have. So we do have openings for sophomore representatives, a senior banquet committee co-chairs, hospitality committee co-chair, transportation committee co-chair, and technology committee co-chair. So if you'd like to get involved in any of those areas, please send us an email, again, to the imsapac@gmail.com. And again, we will give you the information at the end as well. So another thing that IMSA does is because the school represents students statewide, they've divided up the region into 10 parts. So these are the different regions, and We will also give you the link to that. It's on the IMSA website, and these are how the regions are divided up. So you may have heard some of our leadership team talking about meetups that we will be hosting by region, because we know that like this is a very large group of people, and it's kind of hard to connect one-on-one or in small groups in a call like this. But we wanted to give you the opportunity because typically in the past we've had picnics, regional picnics right before school starts, where families from these regions will get together, get to know each other more face-to-face. But obviously, given this time right now, we will be doing virtual meetups. So that'll all be happening in the next week or so, and you'll be getting invitations with the call-in information from us. So we're also asking for people to step up and be a regional representative, and more than one person can be a regional representative. In fact, we encourage to have more than one per region. So what regional representatives would do are help organize meetups in their region and also serve as a resource to parents in your region. So like I pointed out in the beginning of the call, with the PAC, it doesn't matter how near or far from IMSA you live, there are opportunities to get involved. And as you can see just here in our leadership team, we have people from very north, you know, close to the border that way, and we have some from the very bottom of the state, you know, close to the border that way. So we are, you know, hoping to represent parents in all areas of IMSA. So we know that different areas have different needs and different resources. So by having it regional meetups throughout the year, we hope to be able to serve the different needs of the different regions. And there's a sign up as well if you're interested in being a regional rep in the region in which you reside. And also, you can fill out the form, but also connect with the person who's hosting your regional meetup if you would like to be a part of that and be a regional representative. We'd love to have you. Okay, so the regional meetups right now, this is what the schedule looks like for each of the regions. So again, this will be, I'll put this file in the link to the file in the chat after we're done towards the end of this call, so that you can have this, and we will also be sending out the invitations with the call-in information by Monday. And you can also reach out to the imsapac@gmail.com if you don't receive an email by Monday. So we did get the information from the school and the Power School. So just in case any of the emails get lost in the shuffle, feel free to reach out to us as well. And thank you to those that are hosting these regional meetups. And as you heard, a lot of the committee chairs say, you know, they would love to have volunteers. So as many of you well know, if you've been involved in any of your school groups or in other groups, there's a lot more you can do with more hands. So we invite you to take part in some of the committees that we have over here. And we have one form that you can fill out, and you are more than welcome to volunteer for more than one committee if you'd like. We would love it. And you've seen some of our volunteers right here. Their faces pop up numerous times as well, because you know, it is a lot of fun to volunteer in the PAC and be involved and get to know some really great people while serving the IMSA community. Plus, a lot of these committees, you're able to get to know, like they said, your students' friends and other people in the IMSA community. So we also have regular PAC general meetings, and it's usually held once a month. So these are the dates, and again, these will be in the document that we send out with the links as well. And we have on here subject to change, because obviously things may change depending on how things pivot throughout the year. But so far, these are the dates that we have. Okay. And we do have a website, which is on IMSA's website as well, a section on there, the Parents Association Council, where you have our contact list, along with some more information about what we do. So with that, we will turn to our question and answer session. So we do ask that if you could put the questions into the chat so that we can try to get to as many of them as we can. And Robin and Missy, if you wouldn't mind sharing some of the questions that we have, and then we can hopefully address it.
Sure. So this is Robin, and Missy, are you on?
I am.
Awesome. So a couple of these questions are coming up with about the PAC meeting. What time are the monthly PAC meetings?
Oh, yes, that is a very good question. The PAC meetings are usually held at 10 a.m. So they're usually from 10 to 11 is a general meeting, and then we usually have a speaker series from 11 to 11:30. And usually we invite someone that's a part of the school to come and talk to parents about some of the things that you might be curious about. So whether or not it's about, you know, how are my kids doing at school, study-wise, sleep-wise. We've had in the past panels where we've invited students in the RCs and parents to take part to kind of talk about how residential life is over there. We've also had people who are part of the faculty at IMSA talk about some of the things that they do in their area over there at IMSA. So we are open to suggestions as well if there's different topics you would like covered during that speaker series.
Great, thanks, Maria. And someone had asked what day of the week those PAC meetings are. They are on Saturdays.
Yes.
So,
thank you.
Yeah.
So when we are back in school, usually we do have a live portion of it that's an into, and then we also share it virtually.
Yeah. So there's and I want to move to an academic question because I see someone in the chat had asked a question about explaining about Canvas in IMSA for students. So I want to, this also came up in the RSVP as a question about some of the, how the students will be using Canvas and so forth. So academic committee, can you answer any of that at this moment?
So for the Canvas question, I think that's one of the tools that school is using for part of their, it's Zoom and Canvas. And I believe that they will follow up with, if the reference of it is in the parent handbook that's on the website. I was actually reading that earlier on. And I believe that school would have more information as we get closer to school. And all of the information you need is going to be provided from school. But we will make sure that the next Zooms that we have with school administration, they'll address all of that, but all that information about Canvas and all of the tools that they're going to use for the learning is going to be provided from the administration.
So one of the questions that came from the RSVP for this event asked about, in addition to Canvas, what are some other ways that the students connect to teachers? So I think that we as parents, all parents in the state of Illinois probably experienced our students doing remote learning. And if we IMSA parents who've been around the block with this in the spring can just offer some anecdotes about how how the students did communicate with teachers this past spring, I think that may be helpful. I know that email was definitely helpful for my own son. Whenever he had questions about assignments or he missed something that was posted, he went straight to emailing the teacher. And that was incredibly helpful. In the handbook, it always says that students should be reaching out directly to their teachers via email. Does anybody have any other anecdotes from how it went this spring for their student at IMSA?
Well, I would agree with you, Robin. The teachers are pretty responsive. The teachers at IMSA are pretty responsive to the students if they were reaching out for assistance. And for us, I think because the IMSA students are very used to the technology, that switch to remote learning was a little bit easier. So some of you that have experienced your kids with remote learning will probably have a good transition for the fall.
Yeah. Missy, do you have a question that you want to bring?
You know, I've been just communicating maybe some private messages asking just a little bit for more information about questions, but somebody had asked about sophomores connecting with other students. And I know like for my region, we'll talk about that more at our little regional meeting, but I know my rising junior, Nathaniel, has already connected with a ton of the sophomores. I'll ask him for sure, but I think they have like a private or Reddit chat, and they have a student Facebook group that a lot of them have been joining. So we can maybe even I'll ask and post that on our Facebook parent group for how your children can connect. But I know they're already connecting, which is great.
Yes, I wanted to add to that. At IMSA, everything for students, everything's done through Facebook groups. They form the study groups, they form other personal groups, because my child was never used social media before. Now he had to open a Facebook account because everything was through Facebook groups at IMSA.
Yes, that is very true.
Another question was like just the time commitment and getting involved in PAC. And again, that depends on what committee you're involved with. I know I was involved in Friday Fest, and just being a volunteer for Friday Fest, it was mainly just that day. And if you're on the committee, then you could get, more involved to hopefully help take over as the other parents move on as their child graduates. I was also a wing parent, and again, that you put in as much as you want to with that. It's obviously going to look a little bit different when we're still remote, but maybe we can get together to Zoom or play Kahoot or something like that virtually until we're on campus. Once we're on campus, I know our group picked maybe like 3 days throughout the year to go and bring food or have activities. Like we had a little fall activity, we had a little Valentine's Day activity and food. For the kids, it's once you're on campus, it's all about food. So if you're a wing, just bring food, everybody's happy. And so, yeah, it's not a huge time commitment. It's as much as you can give. And I would get involved in a committee and then maybe jump on and help elsewhere as your time allows. Again, this is different right now while we're not on campus.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly what Missy was saying is really, we appreciate any of the volunteers and whatever time commitment you can give to the PAC. So we do have some people, we won't raise any hands, but who practically live at IMSA and volunteer. But the funny thing is, as Jim and I have gotten involved in PAC, there are times we're at IMSA, we don't even see our kids because we're there for volunteering with other things. But it makes it fun too. So really it's up to you and how much time you can put in. I just wanted to also address, because I see it in the chat as well, about the students connecting. So I forgot to mention that the regional meetups are not just for parents. You can have your kids on there too. And if you want, they can log in as well, because with some of the regional meetups, we will do breakout sessions between the parents and the students. So it'll give an opportunity for your kids to connect with others in the region. And because the regional meetings will be for the entire school, you'll be able to meet upperclassmen families as well.
Okay, another series of questions. Maria, can you help with this question? When will we know the results on the wait list?
Okay. So I do have a child who has experience on being in the wait pool. So for our personal experience, We did not find out until a week before school started. So basically with the wait pool, they are doing it constantly as people are choosing not to move forward to attend IMSA for whatever reasons. They fill the spot. So it can be from past years, what they've said is it can be as late as the first day of school, because what happens is if an upperclassman decides not to come back, they don't fill that spot with, like if an incoming junior were to decide, or an incoming senior were to decide not to return, they don't fill it with another incoming junior or another incoming senior. They will fill it with an incoming sophomore. So so it all depends, and I'm sure the wait pool families have gotten some guidance from the school as well. And they probably are keeping in touch with you as to when openings happen.
Okay.
But usually it's up till the first day of school.
Thank you, Maria. There was another
You're welcome.
question about accessing the Helper app. That's a really great question. I do not know the answer to that. Does anyone know the answer as to when the students receive access to the Helper app?
I don't know when they receive access for incoming sophomores, but I know that they can record hours that they are doing volunteer work over the summer. Like if they're starting to do some volunteer work right now, they can count it towards their hours.
Right. And just parents, just so you know, even if they are doing service hours over the summer, once the fall begins, and I would imagine during Welcome Week that students will be getting the Helper app. I think that will probably be part of it. Students can still log past volunteer commitments that they have engaged in. So it doesn't have to happen in real time. It can happen after the fact. Let's see. So
I think there was a question about how our students coped with the e-learning last semester. And so I have a rising senior, so he's been a junior last year. And yeah, it kind of, he was upset about not doing the labs. That's understandable. But otherwise, he felt that the education was still very, very good, that the teachers, the professors were excellent. And I would think that that decision that was announced that we're going e-learning was in late May. So the professors and the teachers had all summer to prepare for how to provide all the students with the future coursework. So I would not have any doubts that the faculty is prepared and they will substitute whatever needed to be done in person to something different. In terms of the research opportunities outside of campus, my son was lucky enough to be doing SIR with Dr. Dawn, who I'm sure you kids will adore and love because everybody does. So his SIR was still going because it was very virtual. He's just doing some programming for Fermilabs. But I would think that we'll see maybe perhaps some more opportunities that are going to be remote to doing something like that. But I don't know if any of us right now can share anything that, we just don't know yet. But I have no doubts that to me, the best part of IMSA is really the faculty, and that, they'll be prepared and they'll provide your students with very quality education, even though it's going to be e-learning.
Okay.
Can we put back up not the regional map, but the ones with the zip code and who's assigned? So we have a couple of questions about, there we go. So if you find your zip code here, the first three, like I'm region 7, my zip code is 60102, but find your zip code. I know somebody had a question 603. So if you're 603, you're region 6. And again, your regional rep will reach out to you because we do have the list of parents in our region. So we're going to send out an email. We've assigned the Zoom call times, and we'll record it as well if you can't make it. But basically we'll introduce ourselves and answer any more questions and, try to connect, figure out how we can connect. Thank you.
Thank you. And then, yes, definitely, if you don't receive an email from IMSA or us by Monday with the call-in information for your region, feel free to send us an email at theimsapact@gmail.com. We'll make sure to get you that information. Okay,
So-
Missy and Robin, go
Yeah,
ahead.
there's a couple more things. So Carrie Morgan on this chat asked a really good question. She said, do students need some type of signed documentation when they complete their volunteer hours? And the answer is that at the time that they're completing the volunteer hours, they don't need any sort of signed documentation. But when they complete those hours, your student should collect the name and email address of the person, the adult, the mentor, whoever that is, who will eventually verify those hours. And once your student then gets their helper app, when they enter that onto the app, they will include the name of that person and that person's email address. What happens after that is the app automatically sends an email to that person requesting verification of those hours. And so the representative from the organization where you volunteered or your student volunteered will finalize, do the last step and do the confirmation.
And then I do see that somebody asking if there's a list of eligible volunteer opportunities. I know that I think IMSA is planning to put together a list of opportunities for students to be able to do virtually. And then also you can always ask around for the different organizations in your area for those opportunities, because they do have a mix of external and internal hours. So the internal ones are ones that they can volunteer at IMSA. And then usually the students volunteer for certain things like, well, like for Robin, they can earn for Friday Fest, they earned hours for helping out with bringing in food, right? And helping to clean up. Is that correct? Mm-hmm.
Yes, we solicit volunteers, even from among the student body, to help out with collecting food from the roundabout outside on the carts, so that the parents don't have to carry the heavy crock pots in all the way from the parking lot. Yes. Yeah. And they can get service hours for that. Mm-hmm.
I believe the service out. I'm sorry. I believe the service hours were also broken up. It's 200 hours for your time at IMSA, and I think 50 hours was able to be outside of IMSA and 150 inside. And when we went remotely, they loosened that up. And at the time, I think it was kind of get them however you can. So because a lot of students get volunteer hours over the summer at IMSA's camps, which this year this summer did not happen at all. So
that brings up one of the questions that an RSVP person asked, and that was, I would like to know how summer is planned for IMSA students. Do the students participate in summer internships or classes? Can anyone field that?
Generally, I thought I don't want to say frowned upon, but they really didn't want you coming in with classes or doing stuff over the summer because IMSA wants to do it their way. However, my rising junior did take pre-calculus this summer and he was encouraged to do it. I think because there were not going to be opportunities to volunteer on IMSA's campus or do other things, so you might as well use your time wisely. So this year, I think they did really loosen it up. I don't know I think if we are able to be together next year, I think they're going to encourage the kids, if possible, just to help out with those camps and that are happening on IMSA's campus.
My son did actually a summer SIR, student inquiry research, where he had to work for 160 hours to get, and you get like another PEEP or pass on your transcript for doing the summer SIR. So perhaps next summer there'll be opportunities to do that as well. And that is through IMSA.
Okay.
So the thing about the SIRs and internships, there are some that are available through IMSA, but I know that they say that if there are opportunities that you come across for your student to do an SIR, or if your student does to do an SIR internship, They just have to discuss it with IMSA to make sure that it meets the guidelines that they look for in SIR and internship. And then they're able to proceed that way. So I'm sure IMSA will share that information as well.
There was a question here. This is a really good question about what do I do for e-learning when we don't have high-speed or reliable internet? And if this applies to any of our parents out there, if you don't currently have high-speed internet, and that's going to vary what your high-speed internet needs are based upon how many people in your family are needing to utilize it at one time. But I think that having high-speed internet of a minimum of 10 megabits per second would be suitable. If you are living in an area where you don't currently have that, you should ask about upgrading. And if that is financially challenging, please know that there is a student relief fund through IMSA. It's the IMSA Student Relief Fund and, sorry, Emergency Relief Fund. And it is available to anyone that can apply for a grant through that. And one of the things that is covered in that is access to educational technology. So I would say that if you need assistance in getting high-speed internet, is to work on finding out what that would cost in your area and potentially applying for a grant. Now, it does mention that priority is given to tier 1 and tier 2 families. However, that is not a limitation. The grants for the IMSA Student Emergency Relief Funds grants, anyone can apply to them.
Thank you, Robin. I just shared the link in the chat.
Okay.
So, and then also you can reach out to IMSA because they do have hotspots and other things that they might be able to help you with, because I know that they are really wanting to make sure that the students are have the resources that they need to be able to succeed. So don't be afraid to reach out to IMSA to let them know if there's things that you need to make sure that your students are prepared.
There is a question.
Maybe people are watching the chat, but there was a lot of questions about getting the kids together. And I know I've messaged privately and other people have put in the chat, when you have your regional meetup, we are planning on doing breakout rooms so that the students can have a breakout room and connect together, and then parents can connect together. So that will be a way to help. And we'll make sure that if you are in our Facebook page, our parent page, that will get how the students are connecting right now posted there, so you can share that with your student as well.
There's one question here that I don't know the answer to, and it was how to find and join the Facebook group for a sophomore student. I don't.
That's what I said, Robin. I know Nathan, my child is involved, and I should have asked him before the meeting, but I will make sure that we get that so that the kids can search for that group and join that group. And I think there's a Reddit one as well. Again, I don't pay attention, but I will find out what groups he's in, and we'll share it with the parents so they can check with their kids.
Okay.
So there was a question about the regional meetups, and the regional meetups will be virtual right now. So our hope is that in the future, as we're able to, we can have those meetups in person for the different regions. So I'm going to touch on a few of the questions that were sent in through the RSVP link. And some of them were in relation to when will the kids be back on campus. And honestly, we don't have the answer to that. We are, essentially we're a separate organization from the school, but we partner with the school to serve as a resource for the students and families. So when we know information and if we're able to share it, we definitely do. As of right now, we don't know, we know as much as everybody else does in regards to that there's no set date yet for the return to campus. And let's see, are there any other questions that we have not answered yet?
The only one I'm seeing from the RSVP list that we haven't touched on, or we touched on a little bit, was how can parents help ensure that students get the most out of their IMSA experience when attending online? And I did ask my son what he recommended in response to this. So I'm gonna just share with you a little bit about what he said. He's a rising senior. So typically when the students are starting the school year on campus, they are required to remain on campus for the full first 2 weeks, and they are not permitted to go home on the weekends. And the reason for that is because the students need to connect with one another through their residential life programming, as well as just get into the rhythm and the routine of going to class, of the homework load, of communicating with teachers and so forth, and developing those independent skills. Now, of course, given that they're not going to be on campus and will be living at home, my son articulated that over the first 2 to 4 weeks, he advises that families minimize some of their students' other obligations. And what that might mean would be, don't schedule doctor's appointments during class time. For sophomores, see if those doctor's appointments can be on, a Wednesday, for example, when they don't have classes. They're going to need their class time. Another thing was, minimizing other family expectations during the week so that they can participate in all of the opportunities that are available to them outside of the school day as well as during class time. And then, reserve chore time or the long sit-down family meal for the weekend. Recognize that these students will be very busy with their studies, and you need to protect and help them protect their time and their own space away from distractions. That's parent distractions, it's sibling distractions, to the best that we can to protect that space for them.
Yeah, when they're on campus, sophomores until January are required to be in study hours from 7 to 9 p.m. and they don't get out of that for any reason whatsoever. So they really, make sure that sophomores spend the time that they need to on their studies. I mean, there's a lot of things to do and it's great, but obviously they're here for academic purposes first. And so I don't know how the residential counselors are going to try to manage that when we're virtual, but as parents, if parents of sophomores, I would highly encourage that from 7 to 9, they need to be studying, not distracted with a phone or anything, because that's what they would be doing on campus. And it really gets just a really good start to great study habits, because one of the things you may end up hearing is IMSA students tend to stay up really late, and that's always been an issue. And if they start those great study habits of really getting their stuff done from 7 to 9, then they're not up till 2 or 3 in the morning trying to get stuff done.
Yeah, and to emphasize Mrs. point, the door is open when you're staying on campus from 7 to 9. The doors to your room is open, so the resident counselors walk by and then make sure the students do study. If you want to try to manage your student that way, I would encourage you to. If you believe they're able to do it on their own, then maybe not. But this, I think it helps every student to do something like that.
And then I would also say, because when they're on campus, they're also encouraged to use others around them as a resource, whether it's the teachers, the RCs, fellow students, peer tutors. They're even encouraged that if they have a teacher who's got a different learning style than that they're comfortable with, that they can reach out to a teacher that they know has, a similar teaching style to how they like to learn. So we know that teachers have study sessions, usually on that I day. And so I would say also have your kids take advantage of that if there's some subjects that they need some extra help on, especially for those I days, because when they get back on campus, that's what they'll be using.
Yeah, Maria, you mentioned peer tutors. That's a great way to get help. Encourage your students not to spin their wheels if they can't figure something out. Go to those students that are peer tutors. They're usually upperclassmen. They've been through this and they know how to explain it probably maybe easier than maybe some of the professors or some of the faculty members. So go ahead and use those peers, peer tutors to your advantage.
Wonderful.
I think we've addressed. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead. Someone had asked about what kind of best practices for a physical or workspace while they're at home, and what's worked for students and parents this past spring. So parents, if you have any tips as to how students can arrange their space. I think that was touched on a little bit with just make sure that it's free from distraction. And then especially if you have multiple kids with remote learning, maybe try to give them each their own individual space. One thing that IMSA is known for is a lot of collaborative work. So your kids are probably going to be on calls with their fellow students after their classes are done. So having a space where they're able to have these conversations will be helpful.
So
any other
texting with Nathaniel to try to connect with him, and I did put him or his name in the chat, Nathaniel Graff. He said, look him up. He said the kids need to be on Facebook. You will not be connected if you're not. So hopefully if you parents will let them do that. And then another thing, if you haven't purchased a computer yet, I know that was a big question for us last year. I know that you can purchase a computer through IMSA, but we found one half the price at Costco. So if you just look at what the requirements are, you can look around Office Depot, Costco, Sam's Club, whatever, and get, what they need for that. Of course, if, last year we were planning on we were on campus, so we bought a desk chair because they needed one. So again, if you're going to get that because at some point they will be on campus, then you can set up a desk, whether it's in their bedroom or some, quiet place in your house. That might be helpful.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Missy, I think get the warranty if you can, accident warranty.
Yes.
Even I would suggest get that also, because
Yes.
we already ended up using twice on ours.
Absolutely, we used ours as well. And it just wore out. It wasn't. We didn't do anything wrong to it. It just, really just wore out one of the joints, and so ours had to get sent in as well. So definitely pay up for that, like 3-year warranty to get them completely through IMSA with that computer.
And one more thing, even if you don't buy through IMSA and you need a computer because your computer broke and you had to send to fix, you can get a loaner at IMSA. Anyone can get a loaner, a computer through IMSA, just while your computer is being fixed.
Yeah, and it's very easy. That's a good point. It's very easy
Yes.
to do that, and you can keep it for a couple of weeks until
Yes.
the issues get resolved. Because ours ended up being sent to Dell, and with the shipping and everything, it took a good couple of weeks. There is a UPS store next by to IMSA, so they can just pack it up. So I would suggest, like when you're sending a laptop, send the original laptop back to the box that it came up with, so that it's easier for the students to pack it up and then just drop it off at UPS, and it gets taken care of that way.
The question about the type of computer, Mac and PC are okay. So I think for majority they use PC, but do we have any students using Mac? Parents?
I know
Do
when
any of
we
your
were looking up,
students
there are
To have
certain
a
applications
PC.
that can only run on Windows. So you gotta
Yeah.
make sure that it is Windows at least. That's what they were strongly recommending.
Right.
It depends on what
And then
classes you
there's,
end up taking, but some of the classes do require you to have Windows.
okay, great. That's what I thought, because I think most of the specs they have on there are regular Windows. So now there's a question about what other things to bring to the dorm room on campus besides the bedding, towels, clothing. So they do provide the beds, the bureaus, desks, and a couple of chairs, but as someone brought up, definitely those chairs are uncomfortable. They're wooden chairs, so you would definitely want to have something more comfortable. And usually with the shower, it is shower curtain, and if you wanted a rug, that's something they would work out with their roommate because they only need to bring one set of that. Any kind of cleaning supplies, there are cleaning supplies for the hall and the wing. But one of the things to note before they're allowed to go home for extended weekends, they do have to make sure that their room is clean and the RCs do come and check it. And they're not allowed to leave campus until they pass inspection. So you may want to have some cleaning supplies for your kids as well. Anything else, Pat, Karen, that you can suggest for them to?
I know one thing that was helpful for us is we got those bed like pillars that you could put the bed on to get it up a little bit higher so we could store stuff underneath. And we bought kind of, it looked like a shoe rack. It was just cloth. It wasn't that much from Amazon where he could put his shoes, but he could also just slide in. We did buy a dorm refrigerator, like the biggest one we could, because my kid likes to eat at like 9 o'clock at night after Sodexo was closed. And so we would set him up with some like Trader Joe's things or like quick heat up sandwiches or things. And so he had some microwavable bowls and silverware for that he would go down and clean. Less is more though. I mean, obviously it seems like the girls end up with a whole lot more. Like you might not be able to get home in one trip for a girl that's moving out, but the boys seem to keep it kind of light, which is good. We did have a desk lamp, somebody asked, and we did have a floor lamp as well, because there is just one ceiling light and it doesn't throw off a bunch of light. But other than that, you could have like an under the bed storage, again, if they want snacks and things. There were like 2 drawers in the bureau, a little bit of hanging area, and then there's a couple of drawers in the desk, which my son used just to put like shorts and t-shirts in. But definitely when you can go on campus, keep it the season. Like you're not gonna have shorts with you, maybe a pair in the winter, but you have to just stay with that particular season and switch it out because there's not more room for the rest.
And then definitely, I would suggest for you to get the slim hangers because as Missy pointed out, the bureaus are not super large. So if you get slim hangers, you're able to get more. And one tip, right now, if you go on Facebook Marketplace, you'll probably get some really great deals on bed risers and even mini fridges because as people have kids that are not returning back to campus, if their kids are graduated, you can get some really good deals on some of those things.
We also at some point brought a vacuum cleaner because those are a hot commodity. And if your kid wants to leave early for extended weekend and doesn't want to wait for the communal one, that's a good thing to have as well.
Also, each room is allowed a fridge, so you'll have to talk to your roommate to decide who's going to bring the fridge. You know, one of those little fridge. So, you know, the kid thinks that, I guess, needs to be preserved. So you'll have to, each child, I guess, will have to communicate with their roommate, because that's what my kids did. Just decided who was going to bring the fridge, and where they were going to put it, because the room isn't that big, and you might have to put it under somebody's bed or off to the side, but they have to agree because you're not going to get 2 of the fridge, you're only going to get 1. So find out who your roommate is and then make that arrangement.
Yes, and for parents of sophomores, I think they're going to be releasing roommate information in the next couple of weeks. So you'll be able to see it in your Power School when they release it.
And then for the girls, don't bring too much because we have to learn the hard way. I had a girl before and we took everything we could take. There wasn't enough room. At the end of the day, I'm bringing stuff back home. But with the boy, it was real easy. We took, very minimal and he was fine. At the end of the day, less is more. So it's not college. Let's keep it simple and you'll be fine.
Someone asked about textbooks. The students at IMSA do not purchase textbooks. All of the textbooks, whether those are online versions or physical textbooks, are provided by the school and then are returned at the end of the year. Does anyone know how IMSA is going to handle that this year?
I know that this is Maria, and I know that they're working on that as far as, figuring out how to get what the students need in order to do their classes. So they'll probably ship out if needed. But I'm sure it'll be on a class-by-class basis.
Okay, thanks. Someone asked, okay, someone asked about the laptop specification, and it looks like Guy just posted that in the chat. So hopefully you will find that.
I just read in the Facebook, there are some people complaining they did not receive the link for this Zoom. I think it's too late for today, but we need somehow to make sure that this doesn't happen for next Saturday.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, we'll reach out to them and we'll share this recording as well.
There's 2 more live opportunities as well, right?
Yeah, there's one more on Saturday. So if any of you know fellow sophomore parents that were not able to get on the call tonight, please let them know that they are able to join us on Saturday. And you are more than welcome to join us again if there's any part of this presentation that you had to miss. Just know that at least for some of us, we were in your position not too long ago, being incoming sophomore parents and having a lot of questions about what life is like at IMSA, both as a parent and a student. So we are here to be your resource. And obviously, we would love for you to get involved and get to know fellow parents, but also in that capacity, you'll get to know more about IMSA and hopefully, what I like to say, have a reason to go and visit IMSA on the premise of being part of PAC, but then that gives you an excuse to come and see your kids as well. Wouldn't you say, fellow leadership team? It's a great way.
Yes.
I mean, students do, I put in the chat that my son came home almost every weekend. He didn't come home over homecoming. I think towards the end of the year when they were doing Clash, he didn't come home, but otherwise mine came home every weekend. We live an hour away, but I know there's a lot of kids that just don't ever come home. They treat it like it's college, and that's fine. They get connected, and so whatever your child wants to do is fine. Mine wanted to come home and eat our food, and luckily he likes us and wanted to see us, but when he was on campus, he was all in there too. And he does recommend, I'm sure your students will be inundated with opportunities for clubs and groups once we start. And so picking 1 or 2 of those, not too many, don't overcommit, not knowing how much time needs to be spent on academics. But even though the kids aren't going to be together literally, physically, getting involved in the groups, they're going to start up, and it's going to be a way of getting into smaller, know smaller groups of people better. And on campus, then it's just a smooth transition. I'm already in this group or that group. And so I think there's over 100 different opportunities, groups and stuff. So everybody can find a connection for sure.
Yes, you bring up a good point, that they do have a lot of ways to get involved, and those groups, a lot of those groups are going to be continuing virtually. So besides your child balancing academics and responsibilities at home and the clubs, you may or may not see them too much, but that'll kind of give you a glimpse of the life of a student at IMSA. And yes, the question about can they have cars on campus? No, they cannot, but they do. So if you have a child that's going to be old enough to take driver's ed, they do not offer a driver's ed class at IMSA, but they do partner with a private company that comes and does a driver's ed. So there is an opportunity for that, but it is outside of school.
Maria, could you also speak to the sophomore orientation? I know it's broken up, but can you speak to how that is? That question came up.
A sophomore orientation.
Yes, I think that my post, my chat was confusing. My chat up above, I said, inadvertently, I said the Saturday sophomore orientation is at 10 a.m. I was trying to be specific about the time. And I should have said that the Saturday sophomore parent orientation is at 10 a.m. this Saturday, August 1st.
Yes, the PAC meeting like this one that we're having right now, there's another one at 10 a.m. Pretty much the same thing that you are in right now. The other orientations that the school gave have already happened. And I would highly recommend, if you haven't had a chance to watch the videos that they have that were outside of the live orientation, to go ahead and watch that, because they do cover some of the things like Power School and a little bit about life on campus. And they do have a little section about how to support your students during remote learning. Okay. So if anybody else has any questions, yeah, so August 11th starts the Welcome Week. I know the school is going to be sending out more information. That's for sophomores. For upperclassmen, Welcome Week is just, I think, that Friday. And convocation is on that Monday before school officially starts, is how they kick it off. And I'm sure they'll be sending out more information on that. Rebecca, your question about driver's ed, I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't have them do driver's ed on their own. And actually, it's probably better for you to do that, because honestly, I think their schedules get very busy when they're on campus. And since they have to schedule driver's ed, even if they do the top driver over there, they would have to schedule it around their regular classes. They can't miss class to take driver's ed. Okay, great. Okay. Go ahead, Robin.
Someone asked about the, this is Julie Lind, asking about the new student week. August 11th starts the new student week. Can we get information on that? I have just like a PDF that was attached from the school about Welcome Week for sophomores. Sophomore Welcome Week does begin Tuesday, August 11th. And it looks like for sophomores, there will be sessions every day through Friday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Some of that is for parents and students. Some is for students only. Does anybody have access to that PDF that we could post here?
We could download it. It was in the Student Affairs newsletter. So we could certainly take a look and download that.
Okay. I will. That might be a good thing to put on the PAC Facebook group.
Yeah. So we'll share that on the PAC Facebook group as well. The question, Melissa asked the question that it would be okay for her daughter to take dance, but do we think it's doable?
I just threw something up. It's so hard to say for the student. Nathaniel played soccer last year, and so he would go right from, it depends on when your open mod is, which a mod is like a class period, too. But Nathaniel wouldn't get out of class until 4:15. Soccer started at 4:30, and it went till 6. Then he had to run to Sodexo and get something to eat. There was no excuse not to be at 7 check, which meant he had to check in with his RC, his residential counselor, at 7 sharp, and then start study hours from 7 to 9. And then there was a little more informal stuff, like if he would connect with a club or group or something. And then there was like a hard check at 10. He had to be in room, I'm pretty sure. So he was just, really busy until after 10, and he was staying up till 1 or 2 to get work done. He thrived. He didn't want to give anything up. So you'll have to just see how your student is, how much studying is required. It's really hard to say.
And depends on the level of commitment for the dancing. I think it's hard for us to gauge, is she going to be busy 2 hours every school night, or is it just, once a week or twice a week? I think it all depends, and it depends on, you should know better how your child can handle, multiple commitments at the same time.
Yeah, definitely the amount of homework they have, it's big. Yeah, some kids that comes from different schools before, they didn't have as much as homework, and when they start IMSA, they see, wow, it's a lot. Yeah.
Well, one of the great things about IMSA is collaboration as well. And that's going to be more difficult, obviously, remotely, because they can't just hook up on campus. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would think that might take more time to collaborate via Zoom or house party or whatever to work on projects, now that they're not just right there in the dorm to get stuff done. And I would think they'd want to be involved in clubs as well. So I'm not saying they can't dance. You can always give it a try and maybe ratchet it back if it's a monthly thing. They just drop out if it's too much, but they will want to connect. So they'll want to join some kind of club or group so that they make campus smaller.
And it's good to have some social, right? For dancing or a sport or something, yeah. Be connected with your friends.
And definitely, I would say too, I know they gave the opportunity for, is it Big Sib, Little Sib, or Big Sibling, Little Sibling program that they have, so that the sophomores can connect with upperclassmen, because they definitely are a good resource, and especially because we honestly don't know what the academics are going to look like for this remote learning, because from what we understand, it's going to be a little bit different than what it was at the end of spring. So it's probably going to be a little bit more intensive, a little bit more in line with how IMSA is usually. So if that's the case, they will have quite a bit more homework. Probably. But again, like what they were saying, it depends on the student, because some students can fly through it.
Another thing I wanted to point out for the academic support also, there's a lot of help for the students when they need it. So school on its own, they have the learning strategies coordinator, Amy Keck. That's their first point of contact. If they need help, they would go to her, and she will try to find out what kind of help the student needs, and then they set up programming for them. Besides that, there's peer tutoring, there is review sessions, there's a writing center. All of that information is in that handbook. If you take a look at it, you'll see it, and point out to your students there's a lot of help that they could reach out to, and set them up for success, because that's all the first year, that's all there is about. They're trying to help them as much as they can so they'll be successful in this.
So do we have any other?
No.
Oh, go ahead.
I had a question about just crossed communication regarding the week of August 11th. And I can confirm that in the newsletter, the Student Affairs newsletter, it just said that there will be additional information about Welcome Week. The document that I have linked here about Welcome Week for sophomores was more like a save the date times to block off, but they don't have like the detailed agendas yet for each time slot. So that will be coming out from the school. And it says here in the newsletter it says on August 1st. So that's a tentative date. The full schedule will be released on August 1st and will be available on the Student Life page of the IMSA website. Okay, that's it.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to share real quick the meeting links again, so that if you wanted to reach out to any of us, there's the information. And also, like we've said multiple times, feel free to reach out to any of us. You can email the imsapac@gmail.com. That's our general email, and we'll make sure to get it to the appropriate person for you on the PAC or committee head. And I did kind of glance and saw that we already have some emails from some of you wonderful parents. So thank you so much for, wanting to jump in and get involved. We're very excited to have the opportunity to hopefully meet all of you, whether virtually in a smaller group or in person sometime soon. But again, thank you so much, and congratulations to all of you. We look forward to having more interactions with you. So if any other leadership team want to say anything before we go? Nope. Okay, well, thank you again, and everybody have a great, great evening. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.
Mm.